Elliott. I'm going to click on that. My name is Steve Elliott. I am the UMVM coordinator for the California Nevada Conference. It's great to see all of you here tonight, and we're delighted you've made time for this discussion. We have a number of people, people I know and people that I know by reputation, but also joining us tonight is Jorge Dominguez, who's the executive director of the Connectional Ministries for the conference, Rhonda Cordell, who is Western Jurisdiction UMVM coordinator, Justin Rue, who's the head of our committee on mission service, and a variety of other folks. So it's great to have you all join us. We're going to have you all muted for the time being, and then later in the session we'll have time for discussion and questions. You can also add questions into the chat box, and we will keep track of them from there. All right, I'm sharing the screen. So is everybody got that up for you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is the screen up? Somebody say yes.
Not yet.
Okay. All right, I have to figure out what I did wrong here. Give me a second. All righty, should be up now.
It is up.
Yes.
All righty. So as I said earlier, we'll have time for questions later. We are happy you all have joined us tonight. And the purpose of this session is to encourage participation in missions this coming year. The last couple of years have been challenging to be able to do a lot of good mission service. So we'd like to kind of inspire everyone to participate in 2022 when you're ready, and even more so, lead a mission project or mission trip or mission program of some type. Specifically, I'm going to talk about kinds of missions, what they're like, just a little refresher there. What are some of the current opportunities that we have now and will have in this year? Things to think about, considerations when you start thinking about mission service, some resources, and then we'll brainstorm ideas and questions towards the end. First and foremost, is mission service is all about putting your faith into action. Our goal is to do service, provide a Christian presence, provide a Christian witness while we're addressing a specific need. We view it as an integral part of our faith journey in the Methodist Church. And it's a value, for me, it's really what makes my faith tangible. When we think about missions, we think of a variety of different categories. First and foremost, construction. We do lots of building construction type missions. We have medical and public health. Even in medical, usually we think of that as medicine or medical checks and things like that. But it also includes things like I did while we were working in Haiti, we did eye exams and handed out glasses, prescription glasses. For the last 4 years, I've taken teams to do wheelchair distributions in Guatemala. So when we talk about missions and public health, there's a variety of different possibilities there. Certainly youth missions is an important component and a good opportunity for us all. Bible studies, vacation Bible school. I did a vacation Bible school mission one year in the Alaska conference, and gosh, that was great and very rewarding and much appreciated by their conference. There's educational, connectional missions. We do, of course, disaster response. Many of you have participated in those. Generally, we differentiate between early response, going out right within the first few weeks or months of a disaster and helping with tarping and sifting sites for wildfires and things like that, and then long-term recovery down the road. Where you can do missions, obviously you can do them just locally, and we highly encourage all churches to consider doing mission work in or about where your congregation is located. We have lots of mission opportunities within our conference and the nearby states, Oregon and Washington in particular. And then, of course, international missions. International missions are really special. The ones that I've done in Tonga and Haiti, Guatemala. What's really interesting about those is not only the mission service, but the chance to experience another culture and be involved in a cultural experience while you're in service. When we start talking about this year, here are ones that you can plug into right away. Now, some of these are posted already on our conference website. So when you go to the UMVM portion of the conference website, under current opportunities, you'll see some of these listed there. Some of them are work in progress. Now, wouldn't it be great isn't it wonderful, the idea of working in Paradise or Happy Camp for a mission trip? Just the sound of that sounds great. It's the town of Paradise where we had the campfire in 2018. We have been up there for the last couple of years and doing a lot of rebuilding there. Happy Camp, if anybody doesn't know where it is, that's the home of Sasquatch. And it's on the Klamath River in far northern California. It's where the Slater fire occurred in 2020. And much of the town of Happy Camp was lost, as well as the Indian reservation next door. All of you are familiar with the Kentucky tornadoes. Right at this moment, it's mostly ERT teams, but we do expect an invitation shortly for rebuilding and recovery teams. Puerto Rico, we've been working in Puerto Rico. I've been 4 times, and it was Hurricane Maria some years ago. And that recovery is still going on. It was pretty devastating. And they welcome teams to come and help them out. Salud y Paz is in Guatemala. It's a long-term mission operation that the Methodist Church has supported and sent teams for many years. It was my first medical mission. We went out and served the indigenous Mayans in the foothills of Guatemala through Salud y Paz, and they have a great operation there. You may not have heard of the Redbird mission in Kentucky, but it serves the Appalachia. It has been there for, I don't know, 30, 40 years, 50 years, I'm not exactly sure, a really long time. They operate a school, there's things to do in the camp, there's outreach out in the community, there's public health. It's a very multifaceted place, and I have a description posted for them on the conference website. But they welcome teams right away if you're so inclined. We're currently working with the camp directors for our camp and retreat ministries to do projects at those camps. I'm sure a lot of you have been to Manitoyan or Lodestar, maybe less so the Waller Center, which is in downtown San Francisco. Camp directors love to have teams come, even youth teams. I've even done 2 family trips where we took kids as young as 8 years old and their families to work at the camps, doing maintenance and repairs and things they need done. And I'm putting together a package of projects and descriptions for that, and that'll be posted here in the next few weeks. And then, of course, Sierra Service Project. They are open for registration right now, and they are planning on a full season this year. And you can be signing up teams from your church right away. This year, with the pandemic, or actually last year with the pandemic, a new type of mission opportunity emerged, and that is a virtual mission. If you've not done one of these, it's basically an online mission done over maybe an hour or two a night for 3 or 4 nights, or sometimes it's done as a contiguous 2 or 3 hours. They are wonderful. The host is always in the local country. They talk about what they're doing, what the culture is like, what are the things that are important to them, and it's really quite an experience. We also offered one, this CalPAC conference offered one for the Mexico border, on the border issues, and those were just terrific. It was so enlightening to see what the issues are from the border. We've done them in Philippines and Kenya. One's coming up. We're hearing later this month. We have Cameroon. Next month, we have one for Laos. And we have one just announced yesterday for Hong Kong. So Laos and Cameroon are available through our website if you'd like to register to participate. And Hong Kong will be posted next week sometime. Another type of mission that has really taken off in the last couple of years is doing what we call one and done. But it's basically doing a one-day mission experience. Could be done on your church campus, could be done nearby, could be done in teaming with partners. But these have really been critical this past year and this coming year, given all the issues with COVID. All of them, each of the churches has their own protocols. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on. Some examples of one and dones. If you've not tried the meal packaging, Rise Against Hunger is a partner organization of the Methodist Church, and it is wonderful. You package 10, 20, 30,000 meals in a day. You can do it on your campus, at your church. They are great to work with, and it's really quite rewarding. They'll tell you where the meals are going to go, where they're going to be shipped to, and it's quite enlightening. For those of you in the Bay Area, we have Fertile Groundworks. This is a huge organic garden. You can see the picture there of just a portion of it. It's a huge organic garden out in Livermore. They welcome mission teams there all the time. You can go for a day or 2 days, work in the garden. It's very educational. All of their produce goes to food banks and to soup kitchens. And it is a great place to set up a mission trip. And I do have this one posted on the website if you would like. Habitat is a classic opportunity here in the Bay Area. We have the all faiths, interfaith days set aside each month. And it's a great one-day activity. We are, in this coming month, I will be polling churches to find out what church needs there are. You can kind of imagine that given all of the many, especially the rural churches we have in the Cal Nevada Conference, a lot of them get a little behind on the maintenance and upkeep of the church. So I'm going to be setting up ways for you all, if you want to take a team or even a couple of people to work on something for one of our churches. That'll be an opportunity this coming year. Excuse me, disaster recovery has been really a dominant area for us here since 2018. We started in 2015, but the wildfires really set us back. And we are doing all right this minute. We have a lot of resource work days available for both the Dixie Fire and the Caldor Fire. So that's Placerville and then Quincy. And those are work days you can plug into even now as they do recovery in those locations. And SSP, if you didn't know, they also offer one-day work days in the Sacramento area. So in addition to the traditional SSP trips that some of you may be familiar with, they offer these work days. And if you go to their website, they'll have them listed there and explain to you how to register. So one and done mission projects are ones that are easy for people to plug into and for churches to plug into and require little or no travel. When we start thinking about missions in 2022, there's some things to think about. First and foremost is COVID. Each mission site that hosts teams usually has their protocols and rules that they want you to follow. Each of the mission teams has the opportunity to decide the rules, and certainly each of your church campuses may very well have rules for on-campus mission work days. I can say that for the mission teams, I did 3 missions in 2021, 3 mission trips. And in all cases, I required that everybody be fully vaccinated. The teams that are starting in 2022, like Los Gatos has a team going to Mexico in April. And in addition to being fully vaccinated, the team leaders requiring a COVID test within, I think it's a day or 2 days or something like that of leaving on the trip. So that's going to be an important part as you start looking at missions you're interested in participating in, then you're going to find both the site may have protocols, and then your team can decide what you would like to do to keep everybody safe. I can tell you that it's worked fine so far with following the rules we've set out. And I'll skip down to insurance. One of the things that we have added to our insurance is there is a COVID provision in the available insurance for your mission trip if you so choose. Safe gatherings and background checks are integral to any of our mission trips. So even if it's not something you would not normally associate with that, we are expecting all mission, at least off-campus missions, not necessarily on your church campus, but if all mission trips would have to have participants need to be through the safe gatherings training, as well as had a reference check. Trips, you can book trips as groups, of course, but some of the ones that I just described, you can sign up as individuals. Certainly any of the virtual mission trips are ideal for individuals, as are some of the one and done work days. Things you have to decide, of course, is type of work, how you want to register, what sort of cost you're willing to incur or fund out of your church. In addition to the mission trips and mission projects, there are lots of other ways to engage in mission service in 2022. A lot of you have been doing great local church outreach. I've watched the local churches in Susanville, Placerville, and other places step up their game for their food banks for the wildfire recoveries and do a lot of more outreach, even from what they might have normally done. Missionary service is a wonderful opportunity for the right person. We have, if you go to the Global Ministries website, you can see how the missionary service process works, how you would sign up, how you would inquire into that. There are seminars available, and there's a related area called long-term mission volunteers, where you commit for a year or two to become a mission volunteer, and there is a specific seminars training for those, and I believe there's 3 of them scheduled in 2022 already. So you can find out more about that on the Global Ministries website. One that a lot of people don't know about is called Nomads, but this is your RV crowd, and they are wonderful. The Nomads, I mean, you don't have to worry about setting up bunk beds in a church or sleeping on an air mattress. They bring it with them. The Nomads it's an RV based. We have a really strong Nomads group in the Cal Nevada Conference, and they plug into missions all over the country. They specialize, of course, in the Western US and Southwest, but they have a pretty robust schedule planned. And of course, that's a great way to do that. And they usually go for a week or 2 at a time. So this is not something you would do for just a weekend generally. And then, of course, we have a number of partner organizations, including the Red Cross and others, where you can plug into mission service. And I'm happy to explain any of those partner organizations to you if you just get a hold of me. Ultimately, why we serve, yes, we're addressing a specific need, but what differentiates us from other humanitarian aids organizations is our Christian witness. We are there to make our faith obvious, to show what we are doing is how we believe in the Methodist Church. On all of our mission trips, even the one and done, I strongly encourage a devotional reflection time be built into the schedule. For some of a lot of times it's a Bible study that's worked in, but other times I've worked in a whole week worth. So for example, I've done one on Jesus's parables. So every night we drilled into a particular parable. There's a great book called Road to Character by David Brooks. Some of you will probably, if you listen to NPR, you've heard of David Brooks many times. But it makes for a great series of week-long devotions. And I have lots of other ones like that if you want to build that into a mission experience. Ultimately, you also want to reflect on why you did or are doing what you're doing. One of the things that we like to see is mission moments at churches in a worship service. When you come back, you can say what it meant, who you served, what it meant to them, and things like that. So that out of this comes a complete devotional experience. We have lots of resources available. We can go to our UMVIM website. We have the opportunities listed there. We have training listed. We have reference aids. We have the Disaster Response Ministry is also one of the pages on the conference website. You can click on that and see what things are available and what we're doing, what trainings are available. We do have a UMVIM team leader training coming up February 5th. If you're interested in that, you can register on the conference website. I've added a couple of self-studies. For example, there's an intro to disaster response for those who would like to know what we do as a Methodist church when we respond to disasters. You can take that as a self-study through our conference website. There are we've set up a new UMVIM national organization, umvim.org. Lots of great resources there, including a very long list of project sites across the country, really across the globe. But they list the site, what it's like, how do you get involved, how do you plug in, things like that. And then, of course, I mentioned the Global Ministries website and MCOR. All righty, so we're at a point where I'm happy to answer questions. I see there's a few things in the chat. Training options, there's lots of training. I mentioned the UMVIM team leaders training coming up. There are also other training classes in the works. For example, Justin and I talked earlier this week about doing a seminar on how do you effectively offer a Christian presence and a Christian witness in a mission setting. Traditionally, in thinking of it as a colonialized evangelical way, there's lots of different options besides that are meaningful both to you and to the people we serve. So you're welcome to contact me anytime for ideas you're thinking about or things that we have in progress. With that, I will open it up for questions. All you need to do is let us know, and we probably have some in the chat we can deal with.
Steve, this is Jorge Dominguez. I just wanted to mention that I have been putting on the chat some of the pages and the websites for different things you mentioned on the presentation. They were not all added there, but they can be searched. I just wanted to mention that I particularly put the page for our VIM office on the webpage where we have all of these volunteer opportunities. And also there was a question about the name of the book that you made the reference. I think it was The Road to Character by David Brooks.
That's right. Yeah, it's a great book. There are other ones like that. So if somebody's interested in the kinds of readings, there's a really good one by a guy by the name of Professor Johnson about the tricky questions in the Christian faith. And there are other ones like that. I'm happy to send somebody a list of those via email. One other thing we have is we do have now a new UMVIM brochure. So you can get it off the conference website. We also have hard copies that we sent out to some of the churches. I think we sent it to every church, to the pastor at the church. And if you want copies of those, you just need to let us know at the conference office. Sherry Sandoval in the UMVIM office can send you some of those if you'd like. Other questions?
Yes, Pam.
Hi, I'm Pam Kurtz. I'm the pastor at Lake Merritt in Oakland. I can't remember whether it was 7, 8, or 9, but I know it was at least 7 mission trips to New Orleans from, I think, 2006 or something, I think, to 2015. I can't tell you more than that. And I took a team leader training from Falcao, I think, had to be at least 3 years ago, maybe 4. So it's been a while. I have not been on a mission trip. I am very interested in going on a trip this year. And I just looked on the website. And it doesn't matter to me whether it's national or international. But you'd mentioned, Steve, that Los Gatos has a trip going in April to Mexico. Are there other? I looked; it didn't give dates of current trips and whether they're full. Eons ago, it used to have that, and so I'm wondering if you have a listing of trips that are available. Since I haven't been on one in a long time, I feel like I'd like to go as a member of an existing team rather than try and create one of my own first, and then maybe organize one, out of my circuit or area. But I don't know how to find those trips that are already existing and they have open spaces.
Okay, great question, Pam. So the COVID pandemic pretty much wiped the slate clean. So all of the trips, a lot of the trips that were in the works got canceled. I had to cancel 2 of my own to Guatemala and Puerto Rico. And so we are just now starting, just literally this month, to start collecting mission trip ideas. And in particular, I'm trying to find out to what extent these are available to others in the conference. So the Puerto Rico trips, we always offered those every year as a conference trip that anybody in the conference could sign up for. But right this minute, Pam, we don't have a roster of trips. That's going to take a couple of months to really gel. So give us till mid-year to start having team leaders who want to put their trip out there and really commit to it. The team leaders I've talked to are all a little tentative right now, just waiting to kind of see how Omicron settles out. And then I think you're going to see a whole burst of pent-up demand for trips come mid-year. The ones that I listed today is, for example, Paradise and Happy Camp. There are teams planning on those. I took 3 teams last year. I'm going to take at least 2 or 3 this year, so you're welcome to join us for that. Anyone would be, really. And the Eureka Church as well as Santa Rosa are both got tentative plans to do wildfire recovery trips. So as those become obvious, I'm happy to share those with everyone.
Steve, if I can just add one other piece of information. This is also being discussed at the National VIM organization about when it is safe for us to resume international trips. There are individual churches that are doing some of those trips, but it has been very much case by case. We are very concerned about COVID. Our discussion about insurance for UMVIM trips. Also now we are discussing changes on the insurance that will include COVID as one of the conditions that are covered in our insurance, but we know that there is a risk. There are, of course, needs that are urgent. Just yesterday, I received a call from somebody asking, are we going to send teams to Tonga because of the recent destruction there? And our answer is, at this time, we are not planning. If you saw the news, they are concerned about the COVID because Tonga had been mostly spared from COVID, and they are now concerned about relief workers bringing COVID into the islands. So we need to be very careful, and we are working very much in coordination with UMCOR, with the Mission Volunteer Office of Global Ministries, and our conferences and partners. So we are very much protecting them as well, protecting ourselves. And that's one of the reasons why it's important to take advantage of the virtual mission trips that we are offering at this time. We had very good trips, as Steve mentioned last year, to the border with Mexico, and also to the Philippines. We have one mission trip scheduled in a few weeks to Laos to visit the Laos Mission Initiative online. And we are just starting to announce, and it's going to be soon on our website, a mission trip to Hong Kong. So there are opportunities for us to continue that networking with others, and there will be others that we will be posting while we are preparing ourselves to be safely back on the mission volunteers partnership around the world.
Okay, other questions? I'm happy to field those. You can contact me anytime. The contact info is on the conference website, and we're trying to kind of get ahead of the whole purpose of this session was to kind of start getting people's interest going again on serving in mission roles. It's going to, through sometime this year, you can start plugging back in as you're comfortable into mission trips of various types. All right, any last questions? Otherwise, I appreciate you guys attending. Yes, Pam.
Sorry, just do a reminder, you have a VIM leader training coming up or something. Am I right? Because
Yes.
I probably should do a refresher course.
Okay, that's a good, I'm glad you brought that up, Pam. Yes, we have the full-on team leader training class on February 5th.
Thank you.
Rhonda and I pioneered last year a team leader update training, which we did across the entire Western jurisdiction. The focus of that was mainly on experienced team leaders to bring them up to date on the latest insurance and COVID protocols and things they needed to know coming into 2022. Rhonda, we should probably do that again here pretty soon because I've had several team leaders ask about a refresher. So Pam, that's a good point. We'll add that to our list and offer that.
I kind of feel like I maybe should do the team leader training all over again, but I'll take your guidance on that, given that I have not actually, as a team leader, led a team because of COVID. It started kind of right after I was like getting ready to, organize a team.
there are 2 people planning to attend the team leader training that are experienced team leaders because they want to get current on forms and processes and registrations, things that they haven't done for 3 or 4 years. I said, yeah, sure, join us. It's all going to be informative, and it's going to be new and fresh information.
And I just posted the link on the chat for the team leader training. So if you go there, you can actually click and register. We will soon be announcing also an early response team training for those who want to be prepared to respond to disasters, and that will also be online, but that the dates were not yet set. And Rhonda just mentioned on the chat that some of these virtual missions are planning to put together teams to go later this year if COVID permits us to do. So both Cameroon and Laos mission initiatives have those connections. And those 2 are some of the 2 mission initiatives that Global Ministries has started to plant new Methodist churches around the world. Both Laos and Cameroon are the mission initiatives where we did not have a Methodist church before, and we have started planting a church. So it is both a work of evangelistic presence, preaching the gospel, and also bringing a hand of solidarity with people there.
I do envision that we will restart Puerto Rico trips for 2023, maybe even later in 2022. And the wheelchair missions will start again. Kathy, to answer your question, no, we're not going to record the 5th. It's about 4 to 5 hours, a lot of interactive discussion. So it doesn't really lend itself to a recorded session. We go through in the session the full-on team leader handbook, and we go through it looking at different forms and things like that. So it's very interactive.
And Steve, I noticed that Pam tried to register and it says the page isn't available. It was available yesterday, so there has been a glitch. We will look at the system and we'll fix it. That will be the link. You will be able to find the registration there.
And we offer the team leader training a couple of times a year. So perhaps late summer or fall, we'll do it again. The ERT class, for those of you interested in training as an early response team disaster person, and that allows you to be badged, which gives you a real heads up in terms of responding to disasters. That will be done by Leslie Carmichael. We'll announce that. She's targeting, I think, late February, maybe March, to offer an ERT class. And we have a new online version, which I believe is what she's planning to do. All right, one last call for questions, and then you guys should give me extra credit for getting done early. All right, everyone.
Steve, I would like to offer Rhonda an opportunity to talk about the Western jurisdiction, UMVIM. If Rhonda, if you could just give us a blurb. We have the newsletters from the Western jurisdiction also published on our website on the UMVIM page. But Rhonda, welcome to our conference. And if you can just share any word to help us get prepared.
Well, thank you. Yes, there are several things that are exciting and going on, and I'll make sure that I get it in the chat. There is our UMVIM group for the whole nation has put together a mission academy for the January 31st through the 5th, not at the same time as Steve's. It's early in the morning, but it's every day for about an hour and a half. There are different course classes, and there's a couple that are being offered by people out of the Western jurisdiction. One's on how to fundraise for volunteer mission teams or for just mission projects in general. And the other one is talking about disaster preparedness and how that, how climate change has affected that. And Jenny Phillips, who is from the Pacific Northwest, but is also the head of Creation Care, will be presenting that. So I'll get that link to you because I think that would be really kind of fun. I know that other things they're talking about is how to do a family MVIM or volunteer mission team. And there's one on photography, just so you can have great pictures to remember yourself from. But there is a lot of things happening. So please go to Steve and ask if he has any questions, and he'll ask me if he needs to, but he's got this really well. But look outside your door of your churches into your communities and see if there isn't ways that you can serve either individually or with a small group. We don't celebrate that mission enough. And so I'd like to just say, look outside your door. And once you develop a passion outside your door, then we can just expand, especially as COVID's happening. As it gets better, that we can expand into the US and to the world. There are lots of choice places in the US to serve, very close. So think about that. So, and we'll just find a variety of different ways. I publish a lot of things in the newsletter. So if you if you want to let me know, I can go ahead and get you that link, and you can find out where all the things that we are doing and when team leader trainings are and when ERT trainings are throughout the Western jurisdiction, and you can join those at any time.
So
so
for those of you in the Cal Nevada Conference, we post Rhonda's newsletters under the section called UMVIM News on the conference website. So you can always see her newsletters and what else is going on in Washington, Oregon, the CalPAC conference in the South, and other places. All right, everyone. Thank you for attending. Feel free to contact me anytime. You have my phone number, you have my email, and we look forward to a very strong mission year in 2022. Good night, all.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you all.
thank you.